time to start. You can ask your questions in the chat during the presentation. So, my name is Anna Fauché. I'm the founder and director of Let's Food Association. We've been working with 3 other partners on this webinar series. Let's Food is an association created in 2017. Our job is to help territories build together sustainable, resilient food systems. We worked in France and abroad, and we rely on international cooperation and exchanges of good practices. This is why we decided to organize these webinars. Our 3 sectors are helping communities. Number 2, inventory of initiatives and publication on our platform, Let's Food Ideas, to gather good practices on food and agriculture. We also publish some text on school canteens, for instance. Number 3, training and capacity building. We work with universities, elected officials, and we create training modules online as well. So here's our team. Louison Lançon and I co-founded the organization. Camille, Annelle, and Lana, who are project leads. We also have a board and some volunteers to help us out, of course. And we have a president and an accountant and many volunteers who help us in our everyday work. So here's the list of our partners with whom we prepare these webinars for the topics and speakers. So there's the UNESCO Chair in World Food Systems, the Neede Association, which works on around the Mediterranean specifically, and the French Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs, which helps French territories in decentralized cooperation in funding, among other things. So today, yes, we have 2 interpreters. Thank you, Claudia, Bechara, and Sophie Bacquelaine, who are translating what we say. So here's the way how to access the different channels. You need to click on the Zoom bar below and select your preferred language. You have the choice between English, French, and Arabic.
And so to access to the interpretation, click on the Zoom bar before selecting your preferred language.
There will be later on some presentation directly in English. So here are our goals at Let's Food to help speed up the food transition in the Mediterranean. We have several projects, among which a project with the FAO. We worked in several cities and around the Mediterranean and made recommendations. We want to support local actors, maybe promote cooperation between actors as well. So introduce yourself in the chat. Maybe you will find a partner. We help them communicate and exchange best practices. We help build partnerships and identify funders. So if you need contact information about funders around the Mediterranean, we have a list, so you can contact us. So our program of webinars counts 6 different webinars, which is a self-finance. The first one was training about food challenges. The second one was on children awareness. Number 3 fighting food waste. These are recorded and available on our Let's Food YouTube channel. This is number 4, producing local high quality food. Next one will be market opportunities for local farmers on April 17th, and the last one, fighting food insecurity, on May 15th. We want to state a few definitions just to make sure we talk about the same things. A local food system. So we want to have a holistic approach, protect agricultural lands. We want to help agricultural employment, but not everywhere, specifically in extensive diversified farming. In agroecology, which we will study today, we would like to develop short local supply chains and help local producer make intermediate aware to have also a good compensation. We want to support change in food habits. We would like to fight food waste, reduce waste, and reuse or recover waste as well. We want to build a new governance about food and help everyone build trust and participate in a new local food strategy. Another definition we rely on is that of sustainable food systems. We would like to protect the environment without burning out non-renewable resources. We want everyone to have access to enough food, which is healthy, nutritious, and culturally acceptable. We would like to rely on an economical system to create employment and good value chains. We would like to promote social cohesion and restore trust in the system with participating citizens. This is the definition from Nicolas Brucas from the FAO Biodiversity International and IPS Food. So Lana, our project lead, is now going to tell you about today's topic. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to talk to you. Some more definitions to start with. What does it mean to produce local quality food? First, there's no one single answer for local. It depends on territories, on producing capacities, and on territories and how they collaborate together. So you have to wonder about the scale, the consequences for society, economy, and environment, and of short versus long distribution channel. What about quality? We based our definition on the ADEME's definition. It's the French Environment Energy Management Agency. We talk about respectful for the ecosystems, living creatures. A sustainable agriculture uses resources reasonably and natural mechanisms such as agroecology. Sustainable agriculture is beneficial for the whole territory and its inhabitants. Next slide. What is agriculture and population in the Mediterranean area? There are different systems in the region, small scale, industrial, it depends. This polyculture historically has been replaced by monoculture intensive for the past 50 years. So the landscape is very complex in the region. The farm population has decreased, but their number is still very large. The farm population has decreased in the north, specifically 64% decrease in 30 years. But there are other countries all around it. As you can see on the map, there are many different culture and systems. You have cereal, pasture, olive viticulture, the systems have different challenges. First, the water stress. As you know, this region is very much affected by global warming. So 80% of water is being used in those countries against 70% internationally. There are over 26 million hectares of agricultural land that are irrigated, and up to 80% of water resources are used in some areas for irrigation. Water resources are scarce and not equally located. 13% of water resources are on the southern shore, and all the rest is on the northern shore. So it shows that there are very different environment. As you can see, there are different regions on the map, some of them being already very dry, such as in Turkey or Northern Africa. There are some countries such as Libya and Egypt or even Spain, which use very much of their water resources. Italy and Albania use less water. So we want to insist on the diverse challenges that they face depending on the region. Water stress is not the only challenge in this area. There is also the lack of land. Since 1961, there are over 8 million cultivar land that has been lost because of urbanization and land degradation. 40% of the shores are now built, and 2/3 of Mediterranean live in urban areas. As you can see, there are many inhabitants around the coast. Why? Because of tourism, of course. It participated in urbanization on the shores. 27% of global tourism is in the Mediterranean. So this is why there are buildings everywhere. Rural areas are usually the poorest. These people also have more unemployment as well. Over 50% of inhabitants live in rural areas, and between 10 and 30% of them live below the poverty line, against between 2 and 10% for those who live in cities. So there is an increased pressure on the natural resources and on employment in these areas. I would like to tell you now about the challenges about the food production, quality and local food production in the Mediterranean. As you can see, they have less natural resources and less working force compared to the demand. So the demand is going to increase up to 60 million people in the region in 2050, among which 50% on the shores. Then we need to be food resilient and create a dynamic local economy to reduce interdependencies. Some Mediterranean countries are vulnerable to international shocks such as COVID or the war in Ukraine. So we need to reduce the interdependencies. Number 3, we want to create measures to reduce the consequences of global warming. Desertification is already in 30% of semi-arid zones, and there are also food production losses, already 40% in Syria and Jordan, and even cattle loss of 35% in Morocco and Tunisia. There are challenges, but I want to talk to you about a few solutions. I'm not going to tell you about the whole list, but some of our speakers will later on. I just want to tell you about one. A technical solution. There is a project called Plante ta ferme in Tunisia from the Permaculture Association, and their idea is to create 50 farms, rather small farm, where they raise awareness and also work on sustainable production. There are also in Italy 27 bio districts from the Italian Association for Biological Agriculture, where different actors want to create new sustainable solution and increase organic food production. There are also some political solutions, such as Egypt's future project for agricultural production, launched by Al-Sisi in 2022. Their idea is to develop opportunities to export, to create jobs in the region, and to develop also production opportunities. As you know, Egypt is vulnerable to international shocks and very much dependent in terms of cereals. So the idea is to create a second delta for local opportunities. I would like to tell you about a Let's Food project about local quality production in Mediterranean. You can find it on our website. We are working with another association called XILM, and the idea is to develop agroecology. You can find more information about this on our website, letsfood.fr. Yes, we wanted to tell you also that there is a project between a cooperation between a department and a region of the Mediterranean together. We'll have a 3-minute breaks for the interpreters. You can ask your questions in the chat already and introduce yourself in the chat if you have not yet done so. Thank you. the webinar will be available in replay. If you need any additional information, you can stay a bit longer after 5:30. Would like to introduce to you our participants, speakers. Last time we went to Barcelona and Albania. This time we have someone from Turkey, France, and Tunisia, Mr. Ali Selim Alpaslan from Izmir, the west of Turkey, is going to tell us about the agricultural strategy. Mr. Lionel Azin, co-founder of the Resilient Association to help farmers into agroecology, and Mrs. Rim Matlouti from the Tunisian Association of Permaculture. We're very happy to have you here with us today.
Démarrer votre projet, comment vous êtes allé sur l'accompagnement vers des pratiques durables? Est-ce que vous avez travaillé aussi sur la consommation de produits durables? Et puis à tous les participants, n'hésitez pas, si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les noter dans le chat et on les prendra ensuite pendant le temps d'échange. Et donc, Monsieur Alim Selim Alpaslan. Donc, c'est une intervention en anglais, donc je vous propose d'aller sur l'interprétation en français si vous souhaitez écouter, ou en arabe, bien sûr.
All right. Thank you very much for the stage. By the way, very nice pronunciation of my name. Thank you. And okay, I can. All right, you can go ahead. I am from the Agricultural Services Department of Metropolitan Municipality of Izmir. I am an agricultural engineer, and I work for almost 2 decades in the agricultural sector. Beforehand, I was in the private sector, and for the last 8 years, I was working with the Metropolitan Municipality of Izmir. We can pass to the next slide. Yes, we are from Izmir, and Izmir is the very west coast of Turkey, and with rich fertile lands, both in crop production and animal husbandry. And there are really successful cooperatives, rural development cooperatives among the region. And we are the number 3rd in terms of population. 85 million people lives in Turkey, and 4.4 million lives in the city of Izmir. And Izmir has 30 districts and almost 600 rural villages we have. And total agricultural land is 343,000 hectares. And as also Lana described it well, in Turkey, for the last 2 decades, we also lost 5 million hectares of agricultural land, which is almost the same all over the world. And the registered farmers in Izmir to the Chamber of Agriculture is almost 142,000 farmers. And we can go on the next slide. And here are the stats of Izmir. Izmir is, as I tell before, it is rich in agricultural crops. Turkey rankings, the vegetables, especially many of the in several vegetables, it has the largest crop areas, and also orchard crops, and also field type of crops. And while comparing it to the land usage, agricultural land of Izmir becomes is in the 30th spot all over Turkey. However, agricultural production value of Izmir is on the 4th spot. So it has really value added crops and agricultural production, I can say. We can pass the next slide, please. And from the year 2014, the Izmir Metropolitan Municipality gives out grants and subsidies to the farmers and also cooperatives and Chamber of Agricultures. I can say agricultural unions. Farmer supports includes many projects. Starts from sheep and goats grants, buffalo grants, sapling grants, beehive grants, olive crates and fig drying boxes grants, agricultural telemetry systems, and also soil analysis laboratory free of charge for the farmers, and also natural disaster supports. And cooperative support policy, it has two-way support policy. The one way is to support the cooperative in the production line. For example, let's take a cooperative, rural development cooperative, who produces olive oil. They get the olive from the farmers, they make it olive oil, but they don't have the equipment to put inside of a bottle, and then there is no labeling. So as the Metropolitan Municipality of Izmir, we granted those to these cooperatives so they can have a chance to create their own local brands with an identical bottle. So that's the first stage. And the second way of support policy is, as the Metropolitan Municipality, we buy directly from the cooperative. And also, when we go into the next slide, you can see there are many stores who sells cooperative products which belongs to the Metropolitan Municipality of Izmir. Please, next slide. And we do launch impact analysis measurement also. This is also my PhD studies. I am working on it, and we are measuring all the projects that we do have in terms of economic, ecologic, and social analysis of these projects. How do they make solution in the rural areas? Let's pass to the other one. And here are some pictures from also the stores which only sells cooperative products. And also we do have farmers market as well. And let's focus on one of our fairly new projects within the scope of Horizon 2020, nature-based projects in an area of 15,000 square meters in Sasalı, in order to inform citizens against drought that may occur in the future due to the climate change, to raise awareness and to explain the correct methods in agricultural practice. Next slide, please. And as I stated, it is the overall look, top view, 15,000 square meters, structure base is 823 square meters, and construction area is over 1,000 square meters. Next slide, please. And it's the top view and east and west side views. It has a rectangular shape, and which has a lot of departments inside of it. Next slide, please. It has the closed areas, which has agricultural library, agricultural services office, laboratory, and brand design and export units for these cooperatives that I already mentioned. Agricultural biogeography laboratory and meeting room, which is a fairly large one. and also a greenhouse. There are three sections of greenhouses there. One of them has for the drought scenario, and the other one is for hydroponics, and the other one is hydroponics plus vertical gardens. And for the open space areas, we do have eco market area, open agricultural areas, normal soil applied agricultural area, biochar applied agricultural area, high row planting applied agricultural area, and bio-boulevard and bio-swale. Please next. And we do have some purposes on to show how will the things change to the citizens of Izmir. We are combating salinity, carbon sink areas, drought scenarios, and water storage and reuse of the water is also essential. Please next. And also we do have some natural playgrounds for the kids, which they are coming from schools and coming from with the families, and supporting the ecological cycle and river utilization, and also organic markets, and also social facilities we do have. And the architectural structure features have climatic data form the tectonics of the structure. Vegetation supports the natural acclimatization, and the existing ground line includes drought-resistant plants and water cleansing ditches. And the routes are not an obstacle for them. And the structure supports natural agriculture, pollination, circular architecture, rural-urban communication, and is home to bathhouses as well. Next slide, please. On the routes, on the bio-boulevard, seen in red, we see the region's water-resistant plants, birds, and insects living in the region. And the Bacquelaine grass is the most important component of the bio-boulevard. The planted shallow ditches basically collect rainwater, roof water, and surface water from the surrounding areas. This water is filtered through the plants and returned to the groundwater again. And these bioswale routes expand from time to time to become infiltration basins. And also, we do have high ridge planting in here, and it eliminates these advantages for saline and high groundwater areas. It is really important to plant like this. And the soil salinization is the accumulation of water-soluble salts in the soil layers above certain levels. So this is really important issue in that basin as well. So we show the right ways to do how to get yields in terms of this type of production. Next, please. And the physical environment of the project area has well analyzed over the years, and it has also connection wildlife park area just next to it, and its use of the area has three layers. One of them is working with academic universities, and the other layer is, of course, local municipality, local government, us. And also the other one is European Union's projects. So it has three layers connected in one place and running many projects together. And next, please. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your intervention. We're going back to our presentation with the next speaker. It's time for Mr. Azin's presentation. He's co-founder of Association de Resilience, local territories on the whole, and in particular. Thank you for having me today. We are located in the southeast of France, in Luc, in Provence. It's an association for the legislation 1901. We are three co-founders: Guillaume Roger, an agriculture engineer and also city council, and Séverine Cachot and Stéphane Redding, who is responsible for the local cooperative. This association, I'm going to tell you about the challenges we were facing. We wanted to have enough food production and also high quality and appropriate to the global warming. There is this challenge of water scarcity. So, as you noticed, there is some kind of break between great cycles, water cycles, carbon cycles, phosphorus, the living and biodiversity. So our idea is to think about the role of human beings in the middle of this. How can we understand those cycles and act in favor of them? So the most important idea was were the principles of agroecology. We were drawn to them very much. There are three fundamental aspects: the ecological aspect, working on solidarity in ethics, food sovereignty, farming, agriculture, and sharing of wealth between all actors. So we want an inclusive economy and the social aspect of the value chains as well. We are very much preoccupied by the ecological aspect as well. That is the very concrete impact we have in our profession. There are big principles. In our department, it is a lot of wine growing, but the principles work for all agricultural types in every country. The first principle is to have covered soils with a vertical organization. It helps water flowing. We need to stock and produce carbon on site, and then we have to fight erosion, of course, because we don't want to lose our capital, which is the ground, land. Second principle, everything goes around the tree. Trees help develop the soil. It helps with carbon. It can also produce fruit and wood for heating and other purposes. Number 3, water management. So we work in a key line in agriculture design. So the idea is to keep water on the parcel and have it being distributed slowly through a network so that a soil can be hydrated in a longer time. And we also want to stimulate biodiversity, of course. Number 4, we need to have more appropriate material. We have different techniques to help stock water in the plant and have the plants become resilient. So this is why we want to have diverse varieties of plants, and also the same goes with animal species. Number 5, we want to have more animal in the vegetation. As it was said before, it's over. Well, we don't want any more monoculture. We want to have a wider production with many cultures and animals. So these are the principles we're working on. And this is how we act. Today, this association is about 40 members, 500 hectares of cultures. There are also cattle breeding. And the idea is to stimulate economy through agroecology. How can we put this implement this? Here are our actions. The first idea is to create a group of farmers to help them be active and realize the change. So there were 3 steps. Number 1, group these farmers, find them and help them engage, raise awareness among them, saying that it's a question that everyone can help with. We made meetings, we had discussions, and we created this small group bit by bit. Step number 2, we started training. It's one of the big aspects of our association. We want to train the stakeholders. So we have experts with us, and we organize short training, 2 to 3 days, to have them learn more about agroecology. So we worked on forestry. We worked on covered land as well with our president. We worked about regenerative agriculture. We worked with Marceau Brodarias on architecture, living architecture, and we worked on fertility with Mylène Sauvigné. So these are only a few examples. Our goal in 2025 is to reach 800 hectares in agroecology with these techniques. So our association is only 2 years old, but we have planted about 11,000 trees so far. So our goals are quite high, but we think that working together, it is dynamic, and we think we can reach them rather easily. Step number 3, after grouping and training the agriculture, it is really the implementation. We want to facilitate and the creation of new projects. So it's really the action. We've been looking for funders because, of course, we need money to go into action. So we are supported by the ADEME, by Crédit Agricole, by the department, by the Yves Rocher Foundation, and all these funders have helped us to implement 11 actions. I just want to tell you about a few. Some agricultures are producing seeds in wine growing, for instance. And so the idea is to produce these seeds locally and then have other producers buy them. Number two, we have local trees planting because young trees are hard to produce. So we work with local companies through some exchanges, and we order from them about 20% of everything we plant. So we think it's very important to develop that sector. We are sure that forestry is the future of agriculture. And so we would like to, if we need to plant more trees, then we need also more tree planting companies. So, as I said, after training, we want to help farmers financially and also technically to realize their project. So we had some experts come, we helped them design their projects, we helped them find some financing, concrete help. Then we traveled to Morocco last week. We came back last week actually, and the idea was to share some challenges and find solutions together. So these are some actions we've been working on. At the start, we worked on global warming, and we managed to work in agroecology and find a sort of virtuous circle. So we managed to improve the water and air quality on our territory without fertilization. So we have become resilient. Now we have a different approach for our territory. It's a more holistic approach. Not everything rests on the farmers. Everyone has to participate, citizens, schools, local officials. We want everyone to work with us on this topic. We tried to create a new agricultural business model. We want that the services provided by the farmers are being financially compensated. That's our goal. So we don't have all the solutions for our territories, but each territory has its own challenges and desires and needs and limitations. But the idea is still the same. We need to build something together, and everyone has a role to play. That's what's important. So maybe this idea can inspire your own territory and show that you can all work together and do something positive to help improve your territory. That's what I had to say. Please ask questions in the chat if you have any. Yes, tell us if you have some questions right now, because Mr. Azin has to leave at 5:15. So tell us. So what is the role of wine growing in the food system and especially in food safety. Yes, the idea is that we need more diversity in agricultural system. Maybe we need a transition because I'm sure that wine growing is not essential to food sovereignty. So maybe we can plant other things too. One last question. What did you gain? What knowledge did you gain from your trip to Morocco? We did not find many solutions, but it's more of an awareness raising that maybe we're next on the list. And so we need to act right now. One last question, maybe? Okay. Thank you very much for being here with us. Here is his contact information if you have additional questions for Lionel. Here is a question from the presentation from Rim Matlouti from the Association of Tunisian Permaculture. I'm glad to be here with you today. I'm in Tunis. I'm still president for a few months. The association exists since 2015. At the beginning, our goal was raising awareness and training. No one knew back then in 2015 about permaculture. And now everyone knows about it, but can also use it in its own way. So maybe it's the ransom of success, as we say. It can be just about anything sometimes. So that's why with each training, we start with a definition of permaculture. What is conventional agriculture? What is a label? What does it mean to be organic? So this association started only with volunteers and now it has become bigger. Now we have a holistic approach of human communities, and we want to live in harmony with nature and create sustainable food systems and production. Yes, Lionel talked about food safety, but we work about food sovereignty. Yes, we're also called ATP. We organized a feast on farming seeds, and only 5 farmers traded their seeds. And now, last year, it gathered 2,500 people. So farmers can exchange seeds, and we're very happy because some local small farming exchange parties are organized everywhere in the country. So we are very happy that some farmers take the rein and organize it themselves. They are our best ambassadors about farming and natural seeds, of course. In our country, we have a problem of legislation on this field, as in many countries. When we work about food sovereignty, we work in a network. It's called the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. So we are part of this network and also of the Northern African network. Small holder farmers, hunter and gatherers, indigenous people, many different actors are in this network, and also researchers, botanists. We would like to promote family agriculture and traditional knowledge systems. This is something we really want to promote. We have always this healthy and sustainable consumption in mind. We want to have a clean production without pesticides and chemistry, of course. In Tunisia, our economy has been stagnant or even decreasing for the past few years. Many unemployment after the pandemic. So we try to be less dependent from importation, and especially for wheat and cereals. We import tender wheat, even though we consume harder wheat. So we really want to work with our own seeds on hard wheat. That's our goal. We also look on global warming. Of course, last year we've been missing rain. So some plants are being forbidden in some regions because there is not enough water to irrigate those plants. So we don't talk very much about challenges. We want to propose solutions. That's really what we focus on. We say we don't say we're missing seed. We say let's create this seed exchange farming system. That's what we want. It's on the scale of the continent even. We want to focus on the solutions. That's our way of doing it. Let's develop agroecologies if we are missing water. We see that many people are too fat, or they have coronary diseases. Let's do something about it. The hunger rates in Tunisia are generally low, but there are people who lack some micronutrients. So we say, let's work on a nutritious and healthy food. So we decided to work on seeds, food sovereignty. Let's work on the agricultural politics as well, because it is linked to the food systems, of course. We want to raise awareness among farmers and also consumers, and of course the public authorities as well. And we try to train them and accompany them. We organize workshops in farms with themselves and with neighbors as well. We work on permaculture. We have this program, Plant Your Farm. We help young farmers create their own farms. So we are now in southern Tunisia at the moment to help them technically and financially create their own farm, and they enter a national network. So these new farmers work in permaculture, and they create a new network in their own region because they talk to their own neighbors, and we try to raise awareness among these new people. We create a documentary film in the local language, and we try to spread knowledge this way. So we can even show the film without any electrical power to have everyone watch it and come into our network, maybe gain some training or some knowledge with us. There are some simple technical training that everyone can attend. So agricultures do this to make money, of course. And so we created some farmers markets, which you can see here, with a label on the, oh yes, here are some labels we created here, right here, yes. This is the first one, I eat Tunisian. It is our local food. At the beginning, it was a program called My Food is African. It was for the whole continent, and we decided, stemming from this, to create our own label about Tunisian food. We even organized a festival where we talk about healthy food and seeds and permaculture and agroecology. All the topics are I've mentioned. Our festival moves from one city to the next because we want to have it go to each region. So each year we start over and bring our topics to the people. Our general goal is to raise awareness among all the citizens and go to visit them and spread our knowledge in all the different regions. That is our main goal. This is how we have an impact on people. They heard from the association, from the labels, and from the farmers market, from the seeds exchange as well. So that's really something we want to have, this healthy food for everyone. So we accompany not only the farmers, but also the consumers. We publish our own magazines, the ATP mag. Some researchers wrote in our magazine on wheat and on different subjects. About the carob tree. So when we see that there's a problem, a cereal that is disappearing, we try to tell the Tunisian consumer that they should eat these products to try to put them in the spotlight again. We even organize some cooking workshops because some people receive each week their baskets with local products and then they don't know how to cook it. So we organize workshops to help them with cooking and recipes. So we make sure that there is this label with a logo for a citizen's food system. In the month of April, we are going to open a new space with products from agroecology, and there will be a small cafeteria as well. So that's the label on the hand side. There won't be any coffee or tea because we don't produce that. No refined sugar. There will be some coffee with, we'll make some sugar with carob powder. We'll sell some cakes with hard wheat flour. So really with local products only. So we want to have the consumer understand that they can eat 100% Tunisian. So we want to have this food that is culturally approved as well. For the farmers who want to sign and register under our label, they have to say that they're in favor in soil ground conservation, that they want to choose local seeds and appropriate, that they are going to do a reasonable, sustainable water resources management. They want to control pesticides around their cultures as well. They want to pay attention to the farm's waste, and they also have to sell to a fair price for the farmer and for the consumer as well. Our efficiency is to have eat Tunisian food that are good food, that they really find it pleasant. So that is why we are also present in some cooking festivals as well. We want to work with to give an answer to price inflation, because there is a high price increase in Tunisia these days. So we want to have fair prices for the consumer as well. So this is the program I was telling you about. My food is African. That was the beginning. My food is Tunisian. It is the same. We launched this webinar in 2022. And this campaign was very much successful. There were many participating African countries. So now it is not only a project, but a vision. It is the future. We have probably a picture of our local weekly market. We would like to create several farmers market like this. It is hard to implement it in other regions so far. So we would like the farmers that are in the informal economy, we would like them to join the formal economy, have a legal status. And so we need to train them about what are the possible legal status for companies in Tunisia. And we are happy to say that some youth who attended our training decided to group themselves and create their own little farming company, a collaborative of young farmers. And so we are happy they'll be able to issue invoices to restaurants, for instance. So they will be really recognized more widely, because 90% of farmers in Tunisia are informal, which means they have no legal status. So that's we are happy that this awareness raising worked for these young or even less young farmers. We fight for sustainable agriculture and permaculture for some of them even. So there are many beautiful projects. In the end, we'll work on the distribution and selling of these products. We can collaborate with cooks, chefs in restaurants, or even cooking influencers on social media and magazines. There are so many possibilities. Are there any questions? There are 3 questions. Does this label have a legal value? We have a brand. We have some specifications for fresh produce and for transformed produce. We have also some specification about poultry, but this is very specific. We're working on a new one on cheese and dairy products. So we need to create new specifications. Our agriculture ministry doesn't know what it is to collaborate like this. We want the consumer to have a label for traceability. That is really what we want. No one else has to use this logo because we have this landmark, trademark with the label. What about the partnership about restaurant? Yes, so our main problem, as I said, is to have these farmers become have a legal status, because these farmers needs to issue invoice for the restaurant. So we need to have them create a real company, and we also create this shop called I Eat Tunisian. And so there they will be able to receive purchase orders from restaurants and guest houses. For the quantities, we'll see about that later, but yes, on a small scale, something is starting. Another question, can you tell us about your strategy, how to influence the common political, agricultural policy at the European Union? Yes. Why the European Union? They have worked with a free exchange agreement with Northern Mediterranean countries, and we fought about this agreement. So this is how we worked, and we now work against the ASLECAF, which is another LASECAF, another African free exchange agreement. So we are starting a campaign right now. Now we work with CRIN, an association based in Spain, in favor of seeds. We work with AFSA and CADTN, which I think is based in Brussels, which created the counter summit to the FMI. We are against globalization. Even if we know we are very small against these huge monsters, but we do what we can. Last question from the participants. Do you try to introduce new species or varieties in a way to anticipate global warming? We do some tests to see what could work here in Tunisia with seeds. especially. But we do it very discreetly because it's forbidden. Thank you very much for this presentation. We would like to know your key to success for the speakers, and if you need to start a new collaboration with someone on a specific subject, what could it be? Let's hear from Mr. Afaslam.
Yeah, you can go.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for all the presentations. It is great to hear from all over the world that we are on the same page, actually. Because in Turkey, Izmir, especially, our aim is to decrease the drought, risk of drought and poverty. So we are working in line with the farmers and farmers cooperatives all the time to ensure that they are in the production process all the time. So it's a good way to see, and maybe, who knows, we can collaborate in the near future because we are all in the same page. Thank you.
Lionel, do you want to add something? Yes, we have the same types of action everywhere. There are many things, we have many things in common on the French territory. We heard about those seeds and everything. Maybe we could write a notebook. So we should, all actors should group themselves if they have the common vision and try to create a model and duplicate a model somewhere else more easily. I think we should really work together and find common solutions, because when we work together, we can go farther, of course. Thank you very much to have us in this webinar. It's really heartwarming to see that we are not alone. Rim? Yes, I agree. We need to work together. One hand cannot applaud by itself. Need two hands to applaud. In November last year, we created a network of 8 associations for agroecology, and we are very happy to have co-created this network. It would be great to create such a Mediterranean network with Northern and Southern Mediterranean. That would be great, such as the AFSA. There would be probably a participating French network and a network from Turkey as well. I wanted to add that I love the peer-to-peer training, the farmers training in Tunisia, and also we can they can train each other between Turkey, France, and Tunisia. We need researchers, but we need farmers to train each other as well. Thank you very much to the 3 speakers for their intervention. All these videos are available on our channel. As a follow-up to the webinars, there will be some deliverables from our side as well. We can keep in touch after this webinar. next webinar is on the market opportunities for local farmers on April 17th. Please exchange your contact information in the chat, but we can also help you for contact information. We can help you contact funding partners to build new projects together. Thank you to the interpreters with all the vocabulary today, and have a nice rest of the day. See you next time on April 17th for the next webinar. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.